Yo, it's your boy JTG, and you listen to In Your Head Radio. Chill.
Welcome back to In Your Head Wrestling Radio on the internet icon, the pride of the pilgrims, most honest man of podcasting, handsome Jackie Jones, left my right-hand man, my audio soulmate, the enforcer of the Headyverse.
1-inch biceps, the power goat. How about that?
Pretty good. And joining us right now, he might be wondering why right about now. We have a former WWE superstar, South Beach Party Boy, the primetime player, and the man who is here to make In Your Head great again, Darren Young, a.k.a. Fred Ross. How you doing?
Mr. No Days Off is in the house.
Oh, there we go. Excellent. I forgot one. How was that?
No Days Off. Don't forget about it, baby. All day, every day, 24/7. It's a lifestyle I live by, and I encourage everyone else to live by.
Very good. Actually, well, since you bring that up, where did that name come from?
It actually came from one of my best friends from Yonkers, New York, that I used to do the independence with. We're a big fan of this rapper, and one of his songs was called No Days Off. This one rapper, Jadakiss, his song was called No Days Off, and my friend just named me that, and it's something that I live by every day.
Ooh, I like it. It works. So, how long had you worked on the Indies before we saw you in WWE?
I had been doing the independence. I started right out of high school and college in 2002, and I grinded from 2002 to 2003 doing the independence in the Northeast area. I was what they call, weekend warrior. I was scooping ice cream during the week, running an ice cream store, and then during the weekend, I'd be wrestling in Boston, Delaware, all over the Northeast. And in 2009, I did my final tryout with WWE after multiple tryouts and multiple times just having the door shut in my face. In 2009, I did a paid tryout, and I beat out 75 guys and girls from all over the world. And the same day, May 4th, I got signed, was also the same day that AJ Lee got signed.
Oh, wow. So when you go in for those tryouts, what is that experience like?
Well, when I tried out in 2009, it was like my last resort because I had done tryouts at the arenas with WWE, but I never did a paid tryout. So this is when guys have to actually pay to try out. Nowadays, you get invited to the Performance Center, and you do the tryout, and you might get signed, you might not, but no guys have to pay now. Back then, I had to pay. So they wanted serious people, and this is something I've always wanted to do. So for the 4 days that I tried out, I was like a maniac, and I can honestly say I earned my contract.
Mm-hmm. So who did you train with, before going to WWE, before your independence?
Well, doing the independence in New Jersey, where I started, I trained under Kevin Knight at IWF at West Patterson, and I got my training there. I learned how to do the basics in the ring. I learned how to be professional, how to have tights and boots, how to work out, how to be professional, how to look the part. So those are some of the things that I already had developed in me, but the IWF just reassured these are the tools that you needed to make it with WWE. So I succeeded well with that. I succeeded well in the independence, and I had a wonderful career with WWE.
Do you think the boots or like proper ring gear is something some guys overlook?
Well, I mean,
or does it depend on your character, I guess?
Yeah, it depends on your character. You want to have a variety. You don't want to have everyone wearing jeans because it's professional wrestling, So you want to have a variety. You want to work out. You want to take care of your body. You want to look like an athlete. You don't have to necessarily look like a bodybuilder because there's no more excuses anymore with the way WWE is being run because the Performance Center is larger than ever, and we have a 205 live division. So if you're 5'7" or 130 pounds, there is hope. You can make it. There's no excuses. So it's just good to have on a show variety.
Mm-hmm. So when you how different were like the independents from when you start training in the center? Like, because people always talk about the WWE style. Was there a big difference?
Well, WWE, the styles can be a little different. It can be fast-paced. With the major guys, the major storylines, the matches can be somewhat longer. So it's just, being able to do both, be able to do that fast match, 3, 4, 5 minute match, being able to pick up the pace, and then being able to do that 15, 20 minute semi-main event type match. And, I like doing the longer matches. I like taking my time. I like letting stuff register. I like telling that story because that's what we are. We're storytellers. It's really tough sometimes to tell a story on main event or superstars. I don't know if superstars are still around, but it's tough to tell a story in 3 to 4 minutes. You can tell a story, but is it going to be good enough, So working those longer matches are a lot fun for me. And I've had the opportunity recently to work one of my first independent wrestling matches back home in Union, New Jersey, where me and TNA's Fallout Bob, who both of us got trained at the same wrestling school, we put a hell of a match on together. And I was worried that my win wouldn't be up to par, but it was actually better than ever because I was able to actually take my time. So I had a lot of fun doing my first independent match with Fallout Bob for WrestlePro.
Oh, very cool. So when you're doing the independents now, you said it's fun, and you're is it fun to go back to the independents? Obviously, it's not the same as being in front of a big audience and everything, but is it fun to just go out there and do your thing?
Well, that's where I started. I wasn't a football player that got brought to the Performance Center and right away. I did the independents, so one thing about me, and Mama didn't raise no fool, I don't forget where I came from. And I love going back and seeing the loyal fans because I was one of those guys that would, when WWE would be in the area, I would stake out at the local gym that they would be at. And I would watch people like Kurt Angle, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero work out. And, I would, go up to them and say hi to them and try to work out next to them. I was obsessed. You have to be obsessed with this business. And I always say you don't have to be born in this business to love this business. And I still have a lot left in the tank. I still have a lot left to offer to this business. But I always say my fight is much more bigger than in the ring now. It's outside of the ring, fighting bigotry and hatred and trying to be the voice of the voiceless when it comes to our LGBT youth and anyone that gets bullied for various reasons. So my fight's much more bigger than in the ring. So I've got my hands full with that.
Is that something you dealt with as a youth?
Yeah, as a kid, I was fat. I had a speech impediment. And, people never really made fun of me to my face that I was a wrestling fan. But, you got to be different to be a wrestling fan. And I embraced being different. I embraced doing backyard wrestling when I was in 11th and 12th grade. I embraced, being trained in a garage in West Patterson, New Jersey. And those people that say, you really want to do that when you get older? When I was younger, when I see them 10, 15 years from when they, look down upon me, they asked me if I'm still doing that wrestling. And I said, yeah, I'm still doing that wrestling, and I'm living a dream. Look at me. Google me.
I graduated in 94, so like in the early high, I was always in wrestling since I can remember. But so it was kind of the period before the big, in between the booms. So it was only me and a couple other people that liked wrestling, I remember, in high school. So I know what it's like for other people to think, hey, you like wrestling? That's, it's kind of stupid or silly or whatever. But I was always a big fan.
Yeah, you got to be a unique person to be in this business. And, not many people can say that they made it, and I made it. Regardless of what I've done with WWE, I made it. I made it to the major league level, you know, and I can use that platform to now inspire, motivate, and educate people. Don't let any stereotype and don't let any disability hold you down, because if I can do it, you can do it. And my goal on WWE television was always for people to identify with me and look at me on that television and just say, man, if he can do it, I can do it. Man, if he's out there, you know, in those trunks and those boots and stuff like that, man, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's how I live my life every day.
Did you ever want to incorporate that more into, like, your actual character on the show?
Incorporate
to make it,
what?
to be the guy that's, like, anti-bully, to inspire people, like, to have that more of, like, what your character's about on the show, to make it more obvious, like, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, you know, why not? That's always my goal, you know, to kind of take a little bit of yourself and kind of maximize that to its fullest on television, and that's always been my goal, and coming out publicly and stuff like that. And you know, I don't mind having fun with being gay or my sexuality, because you know, now I'm comfortable with being myself. If I was closeted and I would hear jokes and stuff like that, it would make me feel uncomfortable, you know. But now I've always been open to just have fun, you know, because Vince always says, and he always said in his promo classes, never be afraid to make a fool of yourself. So have fun, enjoy life, and, you know, be entertaining.
Well, I think there's a difference between, like you said, having fun and, you know, intent is a big thing. Like if you're joking with your friends, obviously you're not intending to be hateful to each other. But if someone's, you know, actually being hateful, that's a totally different, you know, thing.
Exactly. Like when Titus and I would do our skits backstage, and like, you know, I would say something that's probably borderline gay. He might say, "Oh man, I'm straighter than 6 o'clock," and then we would go on a little skit and just keep it moving. But people get it, you know. People get it. So yeah, have fun.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something to type of, but were you always openly gay, like in school and everything?
Absolutely not. I was closeted. I dated girls. I came out at maybe 28 years old to my mom, to my inner circle of family and friends, but to the world, I didn't come out until 2 years after I came out to my family. But my mom is also gay myself. A lot of people don't know, but I'm letting the world know that my mom's always been gay. She came out to me, actually, before I came out to her. She came out to me when I was 7, 8 years old. You know what I mean? And I never came out to her till, like I said, I was 28. So, and it was just fear of the unknown, fear of losing family, friends, fear of being disowned. Mm-hmm. So now I'm able to just say, hey, man, I have the support of my family, and with me, can't nothing hold me down.
Did you lose any friends at the time, or was everyone accepting?
Not that I can recall. The people I told first and foremost, they had my back. The people in my professional life, guys like Randy Orton, Big Show, Mark Henry, CM Punk, of all people, they had my back, man. They had my back when they heard my story. They said, man, if you have any problems with anyone in the locker room, you let me know and we'll take care of it. So, of course, I could take care of myself just fine. But just having that reassurance that people have your back meant the world to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, like, someone that's LGBT, that is closeted, that's a phenomenal athlete, but they're just not living their life to the fullest potential. Just imagine, you give them that support system, the sky's the limit for them, you know?
So was there ever any talk to have that on TV, like to be an openly gay wrestler?
When I came out publicly, it was an idea that Vince didn't want to touch upon. And I respected that because this is his game, you know what I mean? So I'm happy to be wrestling. I'm happy to be working for a company that I was scooping ice cream for years to get to that spot. Sure. So I'm happy. I'm just happy just wrestling, you know. So Vince said he didn't want to involve it in a storyline, and all I had to do was just respect his decision and just keep it moving.
So, what are your thoughts on, like, actually he's not been doing it the last couple weeks, but when Finn Balor came out with like a WrestleMania with the rainbows and it's kind of the Finn Balor Club.
Yeah. Well, when I seen that, I thought it was amazing, and I love Finn, man. Funny story about Finn: when he got brought up, he was supposed to have a dark match, and the last second they said, "Hey, Finn, you got a dark match. Hey, Darren, get your stuff on. You have a dark match." We had like 5 minutes to literally get our stuff on and wrestle, not even talk, you know? So, long story short, you know, Finn got to the ring. Then they took me out last second and put R-Truth in there. R-Truth and Finn had their match, and Finn kind of tweaked his ankle, but he was okay afterwards. And, you know, I could have had that little match with him, and he could have tweaked his ankle with me. I would have felt like shit, you know? But, that pressure that we were under. But, like, fast forward to WrestleMania. Or maybe let's go back to when I got released October 29th. When I got released October 29th, you know, I accepted it. I told my family, and I accepted it, and I moved on. I wasn't upset. I wasn't crying. It is what it is. Nothing lasts forever. Michael Jordan can't play basketball forever. You know what I mean? So when I seen this WrestleMania presentation of the LGBT, and not being there and not being invited, you know, just to maybe sit in the crowd, it broke my heart, man. I cried like a baby, man. I cried like a baby the next day after I watched it back. And my whole Block the Hate movement that I've been running with for a couple of years now, I embraced it on my social media. I embraced it at a lot of my Be a Star appearances. I wish WWE would have taken my Block the Hate movement and put it on a bigger platform than what it is on right now. Mm-hmm. But it was like they took my idea, the Block the Hate movement, and they put it on Finn Balor, who's a straight man who I love to death. Let me just keep saying, because I do. I love him to death. And he's always been so kind to any guest that I brought backstage. But to not be invited, man, I mean, really, I'm being straight. I was so hurt, man, so hurt. Because like I felt like, you know, no one had my back. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. At least just invite me so I can just see a presentation. At least let me be up on stage with all the people in the Finn Balor shirt and give them a high five and stuff like that, or whatever. I don't care. But it just broke my heart, man, honestly, to not be able to really feel that. And the year before WrestleMania being in Orlando, I asked if they would do anything for Pulse that happened in Orlando, any kind of WrestleMania type deal, and you know, nothing. So, you know, I was a mouthpiece, man. I was a mouthpiece for the LGBT community and the Be a Star program with WWE, and it just broke my heart, man, that I wasn't able to see it.
Mm-hmm. Have you talked to Finn since then? I don't know if you keep in touch with any of the guys in WWE still.
No, I haven't talked to anyone. No one's mentioned anything to me. But I know people know I'm upset. People know I'm upset. But, you know, it makes no sense. I didn't even think twice to take it to Twitter. For what? There's no reason for me to take it to social media. It is what it is. The only thing I can keep doing at the end of the day is keep pushing my Block the Hate movement. Keep working with the clothing brand that I've been working with for a couple of years now. Keep doing my YouTube and my blog that I just started a couple months ago. That's the only thing I can keep doing, is building the Fred Rosser brand to what it is today.
So let us know, what is Block the Hate, or is that what it's called?
What's that?
Block the Hate. Can you tell us what that is?
Well, the Block the Hate movement originally started with me being the first openly gay WWE superstar, but the Block the Hate movement is more than just an LGBTQ movement. It's a movement for anyone that gets bullied for various reasons. You know, the whole model behind, in this world, we all receive hate for various reasons, but in order to be strong and successful, we must block the hate. That's the whole Block the Hate motto. Hate is just a feeling, not a characteristic. So I actually partnered this movement with my business partner and friend, Pedro, and his clothing brand, Headquarters Clothing. And Headquarters Clothing is a lifestyle clothing brand that really wants to inspire others to achieve greatness through their message in their brand. So that's been really fun to me because Pedram, the owner of Headquarters Clothing, is also a big wrestling fan. So he's heard all my war stories. He's heard all my ups and downs. So we're working together to really take this Block the Hate movement to the sky, baby. We're trying to take it. We're trying to make it universal. There's 7 billion plus people on this planet, so we've got moves to make to spread this message, especially in times like this, man.
Well, where can you follow that? Is it on Twitter? Is there a Facebook page? Is there a website?
You can go to blockthehate.com. You can go to realfredrosser.com. You can go to my Twitter, Instagram at realfredrosser. You can go to Headquarters Clothing Instagram at HQ Clothing. Yeah, all that information is available there. And doing moving forward, whether it's the independents, whether it's a sign-in, all that information can be found on my social media at Real Fred Rosson.
Cool. Just to go back a little bit, when you were for the first season of when you were first on NXT, what was that show like, and how did everyone treat like the rookies, the quote unquote rookies on NXT?
Well, when we found out we were doing NXT, we were all excited. We didn't know what to expect. We were excited, and I grinded for a long time to get signed with WWE, and it was actually Big Daddy V was my last independent wrestling match in Delaware before I got signed. And after our match, he was very actually before our match, he was very quiet. He was asking, "Oh, how's this guy Fred? How's this guy Fred?" And we put our match together. We did it, and he actually liked it. And he seen something in me because he said, "Hey, boy, let me tell you one thing. When you get brought up on the road," no, he said, "when you get signed and you end up at the Performance Center, FCW, you're going to be up on the road in 7 months." And he was right, within seven or maybe 10 months. Within 10 months, I was up on the road with NXT. So when we all got the call for NXT, we were excited. But when we found out it was like a reality show that you don't know what's going to happen,
yeah,
it was a real nightmare for me. Literally a nightmare. Anytime those yellow ropes got put up, were getting tightened up before the show started, I had nightmares because like juggling and the obstacle courses, like I felt like that kind of exposed me. Like a lot of my friends that I speak to, they say, "Oh, people aren't going to remember that stuff." I said, "Yeah, they might not remember it, but I remember those nightmares." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I remember the juggling and like the talk and running up and down stairs and not knowing what the hell's going on. I'm like, it was a nightmare. Look at NXT now. I wish, I can't say I wish. I honestly say I can't wish, but look at NXT now. If I would have been brought up there like it is today, man, I mean, the sky's the limit for me. But I just felt like the NXT of old was just a drizzling shits.
Yeah, Interest still talks about the keg carrying contest every once in a while.
Yeah, what the hell is that? You do a keg challenge in Chicago and see what happens.
Yeah.
you do a cake challenge in New York at the the Manhattan Civic Center or something like that. What kind of crap is that?
Yeah.
So, when you're eliminated from NXT, did they tell you like this is the end, or we have something else for you? Like, what did they tell you?
Well, of course, I'm always a nervous wreck, so people of higher power see that, so they take advantage of me. But it was in a funny way, like, oh man, you just got eliminated. Oh, so what's next for you now? And of course, you're nervous wreck, but of course, I was fine. I started doing Superstars, I believe, or I forget what I started doing, but of course, they had some stuff lined up for all of us that got eliminated. But it was that fear of we don't know what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm. How far in advance did they tell you about Nexus?
Oh, man. We found out about Nexus. I don't know what other guys say, and it's been so long ago. I feel like that we found out like that afternoon. That afternoon that we were tearing up the Raw set, and we had to deliver, and we had to hit our marks and just cause chaos. And that summer, what summer was it? 2010 or 2011? I forget what summer it was, but that summer we caused havoc within WWE.
Oh yeah, I mean we were doing the show. We were doing shows in 2005, but I remember at the time that was what all the wrestling fans were talking about, because it really was like a really special moment. It was totally different than anything that was going on, and it was an awesome way to debut a bunch of people. I know you guys were on TV before, but to debut this new group of people, right away, and get them over, it was pretty awesome.
It's funny, the funny story about doing the Nexus. We all seven of us. I'm trying to look taller, so what do I do?
Uh-huh.
I take my boots and get cane lifts on them, almost practically. I'm on stilts. So one evening, we do a run-in at a live event, and I'm running, and we don't have the pads. We have like the black pads around the ring at live events. They're not the TV pads that you see like around the ring, where everything is very clean. On live events, it's kind of like the black pads around the ring are kind of shitty. So I had these lifts on my boots. So we're doing a run-in, and we're sprinting down the ring. My foot caught one of the shitty pads, and like I twisted my ankle. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? I said, I'm not wearing these damn boots anymore. Forget trying to look tall. And as I'm taking my boots off in front of Wade Barrett, he notices, he's like, Darren, do you have lifts on your boots? I said, damn, yeah, I do, Wade. I have lifts, and I twist my ankle. He's like, oh, and he was just busting my balls. So I'm like, I'm trying to compete with these guys. I give up.
Is that why you grew the hair out tall? Too, that would add some height.
Well, that I did it. I was just trying to be different, man.
Sure.
John Laurinaitis, he's the one that ultimately signed me, but John Laurinaitis told me not many times, but one of my last tryouts, I was like, what do I got to do to get signed, man? And John Laurinaitis says, hey, Fred, you gotta show me something different. You gotta show me you're unique, so, do what you got to do, to show me that. And I did what I did. I brought my Frederick of Hollywood character I was doing in Newark, Delaware, and I brought it to my trial, and I got signed.
Mm-hmm. I actually remember now, thinking about that. I mentioned on the show at the time, but I kind of forgot about it. I saw you at a Johnny Rockets at Mohegan Sun after one, or maybe it was either before or after Raw, and you were wearing a baseball cap on the top of the hair, and I always thought that was pretty awesome. Because it was just kind of laying at the top.
Yeah, that crazy spiky hair, trying to be different. When I got up on the road, of all people, Mark Henry sitting in the locker room, and he looks at me and he says, "Boy, why you got your hair around? Why you got your hair like that? Why you got those sequences around your head?" your hair makes you look gay. And this is before I was out. And I said, Mark, man, I'm just trying to be different. I'm just trying to stand out. Fast forward to us traveling together, us riding together, us, Mark and I becoming friends. This is way before I came out. And then when I came out publicly, he was one of the first ones to call me up Summerslam weekend in LA at our TV hotel. And he told me to come down to the green room. And he gave me the biggest hug. And he said, man, how come you didn't tell me? I said, Mark, man, I was scared to death, man. He said when he writes his book, one of the chapters is going to be called #insert foot in mouth, because he felt like he remembered it of saying, why do you have your hair like that? It makes you look gay. And so, like, he forever, has always been my rock, my soundboard when it came to traveling together. And whenever we would be in Austin, Texas with his family, he always opened his home to me like it was mine. So I'll forever be thankful for everything he's done.
And it seems like, just to go off that, it's something we've all said throughout, and most people, when they say it, they never mean anything by it, any kind of like, and it's just, it's almost just like cliche. It's a saying that you have. And you don't think that it, that maybe it could hurt somebody, or, that you're saying as an insult, but, which I'm sure he didn't mean it anything by it either.
Exactly.
So who are some of the other guys you traveled with?
Mark Henry, Titus, Heath Slater, Khali. One summer I was on Khali duty because he don't drive anywhere. Great Khali. So I was happy to be on Khali duty because, like, we got free rental car, and that was always cool. So, the Usos, Tamina Snuka, the Usos, I love. They're my brothers, man. I love them to death. They will always have my back. I remember when they first came to FCW, they didn't have trunks or anything. And I gave them some of my old independent trunks to wear because on the side of my trunks it said F. So F was for Fatu. You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool. Any stories with the Great Khali? What's he like to travel with?
Oh, Great Khali. Oh, one thing about Khali I love, but the one thing I love about Khali is that he was just fun to be around. But the one thing I couldn't stand was you drive him everywhere, and like we stopped to eat food, he wouldn't even bother to cover your meal for all the driving that you were doing. I'm like, you cheap bastard! I'm doing all the driving. I'm doing hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of miles, and you can't even pay for my damn meal. You tell the waitress, separate bill, brother. So I always tell people that Khali would not split a bill one bit.
For summer, I forgot. I do have to ask about this. Was the Nexus night? Do you remember? Like, was there a big fury about Daniel Bryan choking Eric Roberts with the tie? Like, when did that become like a thing? Was it immediately?
I mean, when that we caused havoc on Raw. That happened. He got released. We didn't know what the hell was going on. We didn't know how far we could go. So we just had to play every week by ear as to what we were doing and be very careful not to make any of those errors that they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Did it become bigger, like, because then they let him go?
Yeah. I mean, they let him go, and again, we didn't know what the hell was going on. We just had to make sure that we were covered, and we had to make sure that we were continuing to deliver with the story.
Yeah. So
look at Daniel. Look at Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Look at him.
Yeah, one of the biggest stars of the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible to watch this story. And I remember Daniel Bryan and I, when we were at FCW, we would work out together at this one gym called Choice Fitness off Howard. We'd work out together. I was always picking his brain because he's got a plethora of knowledge. He's been doing it since, the late 90s, early 2000s. So he's a plethora of knowledge. And it was guys like him and Roderick Strong, guys from ROH who I love to learn from. I used to be neighbors with Roderick Strong. So a lot of those independent from ROH, I love to death, and I wanted to learn from, because the learning never stops for me, especially. So being neighbors with Roderick Strong, funny, I used to go to his apartment and ask him like a little fucking kid. Sorry, my language.
That's
like a kid. I'd be like, "Oh, Roderick, you mind if I look at your tapes?" And I look at all his ROH tapes. "Oh, do you mind if I borrow some of them?" I still have some of them, but I would borrow his tapes and just study the matches and stuff like that. Study spots, study how they tell a story, and try to implement it into my FCW matches. So I just think that's a little fun, funny. I'm like a little kid, grown man, just like, "Hey man, can I borrow your tapes, man? Because I want to be a nerd and do some studying at home."
Actually, Job's here in the chat room about the Nexus. He says, was it always the idea for you guys to lose to Cena at SummerSlam? And were there any veterans pushing for you guys to go over?
I think the biggest advocate of us winning was Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho, I think, always says that the Nexus should have won because Team Raw, Team WWE, they were already established. Mm-hmm. So to get these seven upstarts over, they should have went over. And I think we all can agree to that. Or we can also disagree. I always say that in the business, this wrestling game, it's all ice cream. It's all ice cream, just different flavors. Some people like Oreo, some people like mint chocolate chip, but it's all ice cream at the end of the day. So however you're going to slice it or dice it, Nexus lost.
Do you think that that the group lost some momentum after that?
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. And eventually it all started to, unravel. I got eliminated, and others were getting eliminated. Then we had a whole new Nexus. So again, we're sports entertainment, but Vince McMahon always says we're in the entertainment business. So we're all about telling stories, and that's what we do.
Is Vince McMahon himself approachable? Like, can you go up to him and pitch ideas or talk about your character or anything?
With Vince McMahon, I think the most intimidating thing about Vince McMahon is his office door. Because, the anticipation, you want to knock on his door to approach him, but you don't know if he's in a good mood or something like that. And then majority of the times, guys will turn around and not make the move. But that's the most intimidating. Once you get through those doors and you come in there with a game plan, hey, it is what it is. Some people win, some people lose. But I go in there with a purpose. And I did go in there with a purpose. When Titus and I were done teaming up, I approached Vince McMahon with visual and story written out for Bob Backlund and I. And I got the idea from Mike Tyson and his former trainer, Cuss. You remember that?
Yep.
So I got that idea from them, and I approached it to Vince McMahon with visuals of Bob and I together and the storyline written out. And Vince was very intrigued with the storyline. And he called up Bob eventually and told Bob, "Hey, would you be paired up with this young kid, Darren Young?" And Bob was really into it. And we started filming vignettes, and eventually I got some momentum and won a battle royal to become number one contender. And you can just look on my social media at some of my last posts. I did a couple throwbacks, and I posted a throwback video as to when I won the Battle Royal on Raw and the reaction I got from the universe. It was incredible. And I had said to myself, finally, man, after so long by myself, I'm not with Nexus, I'm not with Primetime Players, I'm by myself, man, getting a reaction like that. And not only am I getting a reaction, the people are getting behind me, but it's a storyline that I brought to Vince, and it's like coming to life. It's my idea, it's my baby, it's my creation that's really flourishing. So yeah, that's how it went, dude.
Yeah, I really liked that. I mean, we talked about it on the show, and I've always been a big fan of Bob Backlund, and I thought you were excellent in the role, and I thought it was, like you said, it was your best spotlight for you as a single at that time. What was Bob Backlund like to be around? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah, Bob Backlund, I know where you're going. Bob Backlund was amazing, and I have done appearances with Bob way before I approached Vince McMahon with this relationship. I had done appearances with Bob, and I like to stand when I do my autograph signings because up and down gets very tiring. So I like to stand to get personal with the people, and Bob likes to do the same. So I thought it would be a good idea to bring Bob along. And one-on-one, Bob and I are very close. We talk every week. We're, we talk. We have a good time on the phone. It's a real-life relationship. It's not a gimmick. We weren't just seeing each other every Monday night and doing what we did. We were having fun with it, We would always talk about a game plan. Like when I won that Battle Royal, I knew I was going to win. But I told Bob that, Bob, when I win, come in the ring and let's have a moment where at your age, 67 years old, you picked me up and we celebrated in the ring. What man 67 years old is going to be picking up another athlete? That's like, you don't see it. So a lot of that stuff was planned. And I remember coming backstage, Vince came up to me and was like, was that planned? I said, no, I don't know what happened. Bob just picked me up, So anything stuff was off, and people thought was off, I would always say, I don't know what Bob is doing, but we always all along what we were doing. We always had a plan, but anytime someone would say, was he supposed to do that? Why did he say that? I would be so confused. I'd be like, I don't know why he did what he did. I know why. So yeah, that's the relationship we had, and Bob is a private person just like me. I remember him telling me that back in the day, in his prime, of all people, the only person he would allow to hold his only daughter would be Iron Sheik.
Wow, of all people, the Iron Sheik.
Bob, anytime he would bring his daughter backstage, I believe, which was rare, he wouldn't allow any of the wrestlers to hold the baby except for Iron Sheik. So I thought that was quite amazing.
Yeah. Awesome.
But just traveling with Coach, like he's old school. He likes driving by himself. So I would be like, Coach, please drive with me and Titus. We'll take care of you. We get 50% off Sheraton hotels. Nice hotels. You don't have to stay in these motels, Coach. It's not the 80s anymore. So that real life relationship that we had outside of the ring, I begged and pleaded to do it on TV. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have a smartphone. He doesn't have an iPhone. He has a flip phone. He's very basic. He's very old school. So like the relationship that we would have backstage, I would just be cracking up laughing, and he would just get me going. If I'm laughing, he would say something else that's funny. So it was just like we were strange bedfellows. That's how I always explain our relationships. We were strange bedfellows.
Do you know why it didn't last longer on television?
Well, the truth is that when I had my match with The Miz, I was told I can't use a crossface chicken wing. I said, why can't I use a crossface chicken wing? I was told that it's a dangerous hold, that I could hurt someone with. I said, no, absolutely. I'll be able to protect people, and I'm not going to hurt anyone putting on that crossface chicken wing. There's ways of putting on a hold without making it look like you're killing. You can make it look like you're killing someone, but not actually hurting someone. Mm-hmm. So I begged and pleaded. I said, please don't have me do the Cobra Clutch. I can't. People look at me like I'm stumbling and fumbling. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't have me do the Cobra Clutch. That's Sergeant Slaughter's hold. If I want him as my life coach, I would have written something out for him. I said, please don't have me do that. I was told I can't do the crossface chicken wing. Miz was standing there when I had this confrontation. All the producers were standing there. And fast forward to NXT, and it was Asuka that was using the crossface. So they didn't want me to use it because they wanted her to use it. So that really hurt me, man. That really hurt me. I mean, she could have used any hold, but for me not to be able to use a crossface chicken wing and now put on the Cobra Clutch, I just knew it was going to, take the momentum out of me. And it ultimately did. It really did. It broke my heart. And Bob knows that. Bob was standing right there when I was backstage, crying my eyes out like a damn baby, man, because I couldn't, this storyline that I had created was getting momentum. I couldn't use the crossface chicken wing. And I love Miz too, man. When I first started WWE, I couldn't stand to be in a room with him because he was just so loud and everything. But it helped me out so much with our program, and he went out to bat for me. Give Darren the title. Of course he'll win it back. We tell stories. That's how it works. But give a dog a bone, man. Give me the title for a night. You did it with Zach, Give me the title for a night. Let me celebrate, and then I slip on a banana peel or whatever. But I just, in this business, you have your favorites and you have your not-so-favorites. I learned that from Dr. Tom Pritchard, and I also learned from Dr. Tom Pritchard, sometimes you got to eat shit and like the taste of it.
But Miz, I think he's one of the few heels in wrestling that still gets booed. That's actually out there and getting booed, as opposed to being like the cool bad guy. And he's amazing. Miz is amazing. Like I said, he helped me out so much. He made me feel so comfortable when we did our little program together. And I always put him over in interviews. Very cool. Intro. We have some questions from Facebook, if you don't mind.
Yeah. We got a question from Sean Green. He wants to know, if you could pick anyone or any Fed, who would you love to work with in a dream match?
Dream match. I've never been to Japan. So I've been all over the. So I'm actually in dialogue with Singapore Pro Wrestling, at least trying to get out there to do some wrestling in Asia, because I've never been there. I love the culture, and I love how they appreciate professional wrestling as a sport. So that's my goal right now, and I'm working on that as we speak, and I'm going to do that. But if I could go out to Japan to wrestle, it would have to be Kenny Omega. I think I love to, tango with him a little bit because he's been in the game. I've been in the game. I think we can put on a hell of a performance. But I'd also like to Bob actually just did some work out in Japan. I'd love to go one-on-one with him. I'm 34. He's 60. I believe he's 67. I love to do a teacher versus student, because at live events, we would get to the building early, like 3 o'clock, work out in the ring. And there were a couple of times, if I wasn't experienced in amateur wrestling, Coach Bob Backlund would have choked me out, because we would get pretty intense in the ring, and he'd try to kind of choke me out. I mean, Coach, what are you trying to do? You're trying to kill me. And he'd get so excited because he'd be salivating, because he knew what he was doing, but he just couldn't get his arm wrapped around my neck. So we had a lot of fun grappling, and he can still go, he can still move, but he moves in a way where like he's not all over the place. He's an athlete. He can hold his own. So I would have loved to have done a teacher versus student match with him. Hey, you never know; it could happen. You know.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Oh yeah.
Another question.
Like, but since I'm on Independence, I've been in contact with, X-Pac is a really good friend of mine. So X-Pac, Hurricane, those are guys that I've been in contact with, like just ran into, who are big supporters of me. And I said, man, I've always enjoyed you guys, like the cruiserweights doing your thing. And they're not really, they're cruiserweights, but like they're, I'm a couple pounds heavier than them, and I told them, man, I'd love to work you guys. Those are like two guys I love to work on the independents. Them two, Rikishi, these are guys I've never touched in the ring, but I'd love to work some of these guys on the independents and have fun and tell that story.
Yeah. X-Pac is a guy I followed since he was in Global Wrestling, and I remember when he was doing the dives off the top rope, and it was, before anyone was doing that, dives off the top rope to the outside. And it was always amazing to watch.
Yes.
It's Jerry Lynn, I think, back in Global.
Oh, Jerry Lynn was amazing. Yeah. He's one of my top favorites too.
I can't believe we haven't asked about Titus, and he brought him up. But so, how did that pairing come about? And did you feel he had good chemistry with Titus?
The chemistry with Titus and I, that came about by Vince McMahon seeing us backstage and seeing us interact with each other, and he thought that we were just, an amazing team to go out there and have fun. And he put us together, and we did our thing, Titus and I. And Titus is, he's a loudmouth guy. He's, he always likes to be the center of attention, and I'm the opposite. I'm calm, cool, and collected, and I like to just sit back and assess the situation. So we're both opposites, but like they say, opposites attract. So it was Vince's idea to team us together, and we teamed for a while, for many years. And like brothers, we break up, we make up. And I had great times traveling the road with Titus. Titus being a gainer, Titus has got a great hookup and a great connection with a lot of the collegiate and NFL football facilities. So anytime we would be, let's say, in Denver, we'd hit up the Denver Broncos training facility. And after we're done training there at 6 a.m. in the morning, we'd go to the equipment manager. We'd find the equipment manager and get two, 3 pairs of sneakers. I mean, it was 2 pair free sneakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So going to these different facilities, I would always be so excited because I knew we were going to be seeing the equipment manager and getting free gear. That was always cool and important, So I ended up with so many sneakers, probably like 50 pair of free sneakers. So over the years, so Titus got it. We always say, "Hey, don't worry, Titus got it. Titus got it." So Titus was the guy with the hookup, and I did all the driving. I said, "Hey, big man, you make the connections. I'll do all the driving."
Very good. Inchman, another question from the Facebook or the chat.
Yeah, from Facebook. Jason Davis, he wants to know your thoughts on teaming with Percy Watson and the South Beach Players.
Oh, I had a lot of fun teaming with Percy. It was actually Dusty Rhodes' idea to pair us together, and I had more wrestling experience, but Percy was, again, the life of the party. So putting us together, me helping out with the in-ring stuff and Percy helping with the promo work, putting us together. I had a lot of fun. And, I would always be nervous on promo day on Wednesdays because Dusty would be leading the promos, and I always wanted to do right by Dusty. I never wanted to disappoint him. So I always had my promos prepared with Percy, and we would have days where we would kill the promos, and Dusty would tear us up, and there would be days where I thought the promo was terrible and Dusty thought it was amazing. So it's just Wednesdays are always a nervous day for your boy right here.
Now, we've seen lots of guys leave WWE and come back, and sometimes go on to real big things after that. So, is there any chance that you'd ever go back to WWE?
Yeah, I mean, I think WWE is the revolving door. Everyone comes back. I would say never say never. I was a mouthpiece for the company when it came to the Be a Star and the anti-bullying speaking engagements. I enjoyed doing that, and I hope I can continue down the road in the future our relationship on that level. But yeah, never say never. Never say never. I had a wonderful career with WWE. I wouldn't change anything for the world. Currently, I'm using my platform that I've built with WWE to help inspire, motivate, and educate others in the community.
I think Itcher has one more question here.
Mm-hmm. Bob Addix, he wants to know, did you and John Cena ever joke about the fact that fans thought you were doppelgangers?
People, John and I never verbally talked about it, but anytime people would make jokes, we would just look at each other. We never really spoke about it, but it is what it is. If people want to look at me as a black John Cena, then look at me as a black John Cena. Maybe I'll run with it on the independence. Maybe you'll call the black John Cena Fred Rosser, Mr. No Days Off John Cena Fred Rosser. Maybe you'll hear that. Mr. No Days Black Cena. Who knows?
Yeah. What's funny is his dad was. I'm in Massachusetts, and his dad was always a manager on the indie scenes.
Whoa! Hey, hold on a second. Maybe obviously you don't know my history, because I was managed at Chaotic Wrestling.
Oh, really?
By Johnny Fabulous. I was
Johnny
Fabulous,
exactly. Uh-huh.
Yes, I was managed by him. So you must not know my history. I love Johnny Fabulous.
Yeah, he's the man. We've had him on the show, and it's funny because I'd seen him at the events, and every once in a while people would chant John Cena at him, and I didn't know why. I was like, what? Why? I don't get that. And then when I saw him on TV, I was like, oh, that's why people would chant that at Johnny Fabulous every once in a while. But yeah, he's a man.
It's funny. A funny story about Johnny Fabulous. I remember back on the Independence, he wanted to book me for a show. And he said to me, yeah, I want to book you for this show, but I can only pay you $25. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying to myself, this is John Cena's dad. What? Like, you don't have a couple more dollars to, and I'm saying this to myself. You're John Cena's making millions. You don't have maybe an extra $50 to, pay me. You just want to just say, oh, like the budget's tight, I only can pay you $25. But I'm saying to myself, of course I'll work for you. You're John Cena's fucking, you're John Cena's dad. Of course I'll work for you. Don't come at me like, oh, I only have $25 to pay you. Like, don't come at me like, oh, times are tough, man. I just can't do it, man. I just can't. Your son is John Cena, so don't cry wolf to me.
Yeah. I'll do
your show for free. I'll do your show for free,
Yeah. I was just thinking, since the resemblance with you and John, I wonder if you ever thought, this might be another kid of mine I don't know about.
Hey, man. Never know. We might be able to run with that story. Let Jay know that I'm still around, baby. Let him know I'm.
All right, I like the. I did commentary for Small Wrestling here on Cape Cod, and he was there. And at the time, I wore all this red, white, and blue stuff, and he was managing the Canadian Pitbulls, I believe. And so he was in the ring with them with the flag, and people were. So I got up and I started chanting USA and stuff. So anyway, it was just a fun thing. And then the next week, he worked with. We did like an angle with Ric Flair on, I forget the wrestling, but it's in Boston, maybe Boston Wrestling. And so I always told people that I worked with John Cena to get him ready for Ric Flair.
Oh my goodness!
I just leave out the senior part. That's fine.
Yes.
Right. So, actually, do you have a favorite rib story?
Favorite rib story? I don't have a favorite rib story, but I have an embarrassing moment that happened to me in the ring with Wyatt. With the Wyatt boys on Main Event Wrestling. We were wrestling the Wyatt boys, and I told Eric Rowan, I said, "Hey man, take care of me in the ring, okay?" First time that we were working the Wyatt, I said, "Hey, you're a big guy. You're over 300 pounds. I'll do whatever you want in the ring. Just protect me. Take care of me." And Titus and I, we had on these baby blue trunks that I couldn't stand. I really didn't like the baby blue trunks. So fast forward to the match, and Eric Rowan slammed me so hard that I shorted my pants. And you can see right through it. Shorted my pants so badly that I tried to wash them, and the stain did not come out. And I still have those baby blue tights. I wonder if I put them on. Put them
on eBay. Yeah.
On eBay. Maybe I get a couple $1,000 because I'm a free agent now.
Intro we've been on.
Yeah. Huh?
I said Intro might bid on those. I don't know, but the
yeah.
Is that something that happens often in wrestling that maybe people don't know about?
Oh, absolutely not. It just happened with me and Eric Rowan. He's huge and he doesn't know his own strength. And he slammed me so hard. Boom.
No, that's a hard slam.
It is a hard slam. I think who was it? It was it might have been Tommy Dreamer said that I think that happened to him when he wrestled Great Khali once. That they gave the Khali slam.
That can happen. You have on long pants and you have on black. I had on baby blue. Baby blue. My baby blues were brown.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Dreamer's outfit on than Darren's.
Yeah. That's why he wears them. Now we know. But do you have any thoughts of WWE going to Saudi Arabia?
I think we're making progress. I think we're making progress because I think we've had women go out there to wrestle, but they have to be fully clothed. Is that correct or no?
Not in Saudi Arabia, but in that area. Which I actually agree with you. I think anything that things don't just happen overnight. It's a gradual progression.
Exactly. So things don't happen overnight. Gradual progression. So it is what it is. We're making moves, and at the end of the day, man, it's all about entertainment, man. It's like, let's just watch wrestling. Let's be entertained. Let's cheer. Let's boo. Let's yell, scream. Let's be on the edge of our seat. Let's have a good time. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, let's not worry about sexual orientation. Let's not worry about women this, women that. Let's just move forward. Let's be entertained. Let's be inspired, and that's that.
Yeah, because Triple H, I think it was today, or it might have been yesterday. I don't know. I just read it today anyway. But he said, this is the first. I guess they did do a show in 2014, but anyway, this time the women can't be on the show, but maybe next time they can. You have to start someplace. It's not really WWE's place as an entertainment company to go there and say, you have to change your culture.
Exactly.
So where can people follow you online?
I mean, they can follow me on my Twitter and Instagram at RealFredRosser. My website at RealFredRosser.com has my YouTube, Mr. No Days Off Fred Rosser. All that's linked together. I'm so happy and pumped about the YouTube because with the YouTube, people that see me in the ring with WWE have seen a couple minutes of me, have seen glimpses of me. But with my YouTube channel, you get to see a different side of me. You'll get to see moving forward my strengths, my weaknesses, who I mingle with, what YouTubers I'm friends with. my stories about Mark Henry, my relationship with Bret Hart, my relationship with Kurt Angle, my work I do with the Covenant House here in LA that deals with homeless youth, my work I do with the Trevor Project that deals with LGBT teen suicide. So all these projects that I'm working on, you can see on my YouTube. You can see me do my thing with that. Headquartersclothing.com. You can go to them and check out the brand that I partnered with and my whole Block the Hate movement, that both messages run parallel to one another. Block the Hate and Headquarters Clothing, a brand having to do with success. So you can also go to blockhate.com. Like, all these links are definitely accessible for you, and you can learn more about the Block Hate movement, a movement that is getting stronger day by day. It's all about block the hate, spread the word, strengthen numbers. Guys like Matt Hardy, Sheamus, some of my close friends, Sasha Banks, they're all embracing the movement with me. And I always say one finger can't strike a blow, but if you ball up all those fingers, you can strike a mighty blow. And not only does the LGBT community, but anyone that gets bullied for various reasons, gay people, allied people, straight people, anyone, it's a movement everyone can get behind.
Well, it's a great cause. Obviously, I hope people check that out. And it's been great to talk to you. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And hey, you're welcome back anytime as well.
Thank you very much.
This is the King of Small Style, Swoggle here. You're listening to the In Your Head Show.